Hey everyone, it's the Our Shawn. Welcome to another edition of the Personality Assessments Done Right show. Joining me again is Lea McIlwain. We're going to take this a whole new direction. We're going to be talking about strength finders. How do you use that? How do you leverage that within your organization? Those of you who've seen the strength finders system know that it is a interesting system. It's relatively simple compared to the others, right? It's not as hidden, or it's not as much decoding as, say, a Myers-Briggs, where you have to know what everything means. You have to understand the meanings and how things combine together. StrengthsFinder is very simple in that it lines you up and says, here's what we think your top strengths are based on what we're seeing. So it's a little bit different model. It works well for a lot of people, and Holly's going to bring us up to speed on how you can really leverage this within our organizations, what it may mean, what it may do. So really looking forward to that. For those of you who don't tune in as often, I'm the Our Shawn. I'm a corporate lawyer by training. I still practice law. I work with people on ownership and control of their business. That's mergers, capital raise, partnership agreement, contract negotiation. And what that does, I guess, we focus on business planning. And I'm always looking for what is the future of business? How do we make business plans better? And when we get into the execution of business plans and the future of business, what we see is personality styles, building working organizations become critical to it, which is why we spun this show, Personality Assessments Done Right, off of the work we were doing with the Future Done Right show to really zoom in on this important area and to help organizations get it right. So hopefully you're a business owner, business leader. We're going to give you some ideas which are going to help you leverage this, take things to the next level. Want to remind you, we don't do investment advice or legal advice on the show. For those things, consult your own professional advisors. Everything here is just for your education, give you some ideas. But we do love your comments. So comment below, drop it. Let us know what you're learning as we go, what questions you have, what we can cover for you in the future. Holly's agreed to come back on the show again. We're excited about that. So if you have specific questions, specific issues, we can come back and attempt to cover them, at least on a high level. So let us know what you want, and we'll try to get it for you. So, Holly, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Shawn. It's my pleasure to be here and talk about one of my favorite topics.
Yes, always fun. So, Strengths Finders is one of your passion areas, I know. And so why don't you talk just generally about why you like this assessment and what it means to you?
Sure. So as a Gallup certified strengths coach, I have had the privilege of coaching hundreds of individuals around their signature strengths. And the idea here is that everyone is born with talent. Mm-hmm. And the talents are the things that come easily, that we're good at, that we find enjoyment in. And when those talents are developed, they become strength. And what's unique about the Clifton Strengths Finder is that we have 34 strengths, and there are no weaknesses detected in the report. What we find is the 34 strengths show up differently in each person. And what I've seen with organizations and individuals is when we lean into strengths, we are able to unleash and unlock unique power to do things that come naturally, that we find success and enjoyment in. And it's a great privilege. And Shawn, the reason why this is so important to the people who are connected to you is because the workplace is changing. Yep. And we want to be prepared for that. I mean, you've seen it.
Oh, definitely. We talk a lot on the Future Done Right show, my other show. And if you haven't seen it, folks, go check out the Future Done Right channel. We talk a lot about what's happening in the workplace. The workplace is changing. That's one of the reasons we're here, right, is the demands on us are changing, the way we interface with each other is changing, and that's why it's so important we get in tune. People talk in terms of working in flow and getting into a good state and doing things you enjoy, and that's really when people are most productive. And when we're running organizations, it's important that we get everybody in alignment, right, Holly?
100%, and there's real measurable improvements in organizations when they do adopt a strengths-based management approach. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about it, in the past, it was about my paycheck, my satisfaction, my boss, my annual review, my 360, my weaknesses being written up, my job. And it ended at 5 o'clock. You went home, you did your life with your family, you walked your dog, you went golfing on Saturday, and that was work. Mm-hmm. Well, we're so connected with all these devices. I mean, like I've got literally 5 devices in front of me right now that I have to pay attention to once I get off the session with you. So my work needs to be about purpose. And workers today want to experience work with purpose. They want to have a development plan instead of just focusing on satisfaction that ends at 5 o'clock.
Right.
They want a coach and not a boss or a manager or a dictator. They want to have ongoing conversations and not just this annual review where they get negative feedback that's going to focus on weaknesses. Workers today want to focus on strengths, and they'll give you more. They're saying it's not necessarily about the money, but about the satisfaction.
Yeah,
And,
well,
yeah.
I think you hit a point. More and more people they want regular feedback, right? And they want to improve constantly. The old model of once a year performance reviews and here's your problems and go fix them, that's just not working.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when we're focusing on our problems or our weak spots, and that's the sole focus, we're not going to have an enjoyable life. And the research shows that people who focus on using their strengths and leveraging their strengths are 3 times more likely to report having an excellent quality of life. I don't know about you, but I want to work with someone who's having an excellent quality of life. I mean, that excites me, right?
Well, I can tell you it's a lot more enjoyable to work with people that enjoy their work, right? I mean, when and you see that in some organizations. Some organizations are moving up, people are happy, and I've had that happen a couple of times in my career. And some organizations are weighed down and moving down, and it's night and day between the two different organizations. And
that night and day that you're detecting, that has measurable results on productivity and profitability. And, what the research shows also is that when people focus on using their strengths at work, they're going to be more engaged. In fact, there's a 6 times more engagement happening when the organization takes a strengths approach. So, a lot of companies say, oh, that's a great idea. We're going to get the book, right? The strengths leadership book. And inside there's a code you use, and then we figure it out and we put it on your name tag. And they just kind of, wait until the next big thing comes along. And that's, it's nice. It's nice to get that insight. But what's really nice is when an organization takes an intentional approach to understanding the strengths of the individuals and preparing managers to be coaches instead of just management and, manage the status quo. Let's equip managers to be people leaders. And that's what I get excited about.
Yeah, so it really changes the role. And I guess there's that whole question, right? Is it management versus leadership? And, the more evolved organizations want leadership, right? You move people in a direction, you set the tone, but you don't actually manage all the details, right? The old view, I guess, is you managed everything. That was the Henry Ford model from 100 plus years ago. Yeah,
and think about what Henry Ford was doing. He was managing processes to create vehicles so that people could live excellent lives. Today, managing processes is still really important, and it's an important quality of work to manage processes. But what we have to do and really be careful about is separating the people from the process, because people facilitate process, but they are not instruments in the process. People are people.
Yes.
And we have to respect them and give them that respect and what they're due.
Well, and that's a changing viewpoint. I mean, certainly less and less, and I think that's one of the big things that's coming with a lot of the automation of blockchain is we're taking people out of the processing, right? That's been an ongoing trend for a while now. You used to hire people to do processes. Now we largely have machines and computers to do processes. People need to set up the processes or control the process. So it's a changing workforce, right? That's one of the things I talk a lot about the other show is our demands on people are changing.
Yeah, and this is what is really exciting. And I feel like the Strengths Finder unleashes potential for everything. When people are encouraged to engage and lead in their organization and in their role with their strengths, creativity comes. And so, I also say this, leadership is about a disposition far more than it is about a position. So I can be a leader in any role in the organization based on the way that I think, I act, and I treat people. Yep. And when an organization takes on this idea of your strengths matter, then it changes the dynamic of what somebody is willing to offer.
Right. And people that, it's engagement, it's being excited about work, and it's about feeling like you're making a contribution, right? You're not a cog in the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk bottom lines here.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Let's go there.
What's the financial implication for engaging the workers in the workplace in a way that leverages strengths? There's some incredible research. I actually just learned about a 10-year longitudinal study of a company most of us have heard about, Stryker. They've been engaged in using the Strengths Finder and Clifton Strengths for 10 years. And they've seen some really incredible results. And so if you want to look that up, it's a great study to look at. You can get it through Gallup. But here's some numbers that stick. A company that has implemented a strengths-based culture has seen, so most companies that do this are going to see 73% lower employee turnover.
Yeah.
Now, I'm in the executive recruiting field, and I'm telling you, there is a lot of money invested in hiring talent, in finding talent, and keeping talent. If you could reduce the employee turnover, oh my gosh, how much more revenue would be available for distribution in that company, right?
Well, you're talking about taking a huge cost off the table, right? Because the employee turnover cost can be huge, not just the mere recruitment cost, but the retraining and everything else, right?
Absolutely. It costs a lot of money. Now, how about this? There's an 18%, and this is measurable, there's data to back this up, 18% increased performance.
Yeah.
For organizations that use a strengths-based approach. That means that there's a 19% increase in sales, a 29% increase in profitability. I'm just seeing more money all around.
Right.
So the investment in appropriately training managers to be people leaders, equipping everyone across the board with an understanding of their strengths, not just, having the printouts, and I keep mine pretty close by, not just having the nice printout to look at and use the words, but actually understand what it means. And when I coach individuals and when I coach teams, I help them target their signature strengths to the KPIs, the key performance indicators that are set forth by their organization.
Right.
And having that ability allows them to use what comes naturally and what has been developed to meet the goals that they need to perform. That's where that 19% increase in sales is coming from. That's where the 29% increase in profitability is coming from.
We can avoid the old having the wrong people in the wrong seats, right? So the potential is if you get this tuned in, you'll have the right people doing the right jobs. You won't have the wrong people doing the wrong jobs.
Yes. And that's just better for everyone. I mean, your clients are served better. Your customers get more of what they need. People go home from work happy, not hating the people around them. I mean, you see it, right?
Right. Oh, I mean, I've seen the organizations that don't have this right, and I know how that feels. So, but there's work behind it. One of my friends, colleagues is going through, training right now on Myers-Briggs, right? And, it's disruptive to the business. They've got to stop. They've got to learn this. They've got to figure all this out. It takes time. Yeah. It's an investment. But, why don't you talk some about kind of that investment to get strength finders up and running in an organization?
So there's a lot of opportunity there. So, the first investment is in senior leadership.
Yep.
Just saying, we want to do it, and we're going to make it a business goal, and we're going to carve out time for the people who are going to be influencing, leading others to have the appropriate training, equipment, and investment. I think everyone at a senior level in an organization should have an opportunity to be coached just so that they know what it feels like and can speak to the benefits. So the leadership alignment is that first level, that first strategy. The second level is the manager alignment, because the managers have the most frequent touch points with the people who are doing the work. Mm-hmm. And Gallup's pretty neat in how they will actually accommodate the needs of the organization. You can have someone like me come and do some of that work, or you can have Gallup come in and actually do a certification workshop on location for your company with minimal people involved. And it's a great opportunity to just dig in and do it with excellence. There's a book that I want to tell everyone about. It's called First, Break All the Rules.
Okay.
awesome book from Gallup that is like a handbook for managers who are going to do things differently. By the way, I'm getting no money for advertising this to you.
Okay.
I'm not getting a kickback, but I'm speaking from someone who says, yes, this is something that managers who want to be people leaders should be thinking about, because once the senior leadership is aligned,
Right.
and the managers are aligned, then the internal communication needs to happen where the senior leaders and the managers start to communicate out, we want to invest in the people of this organization in a serious way. And here's what we're prepared to do. Assessment, kickoff, coaching, structuring your job descriptions and your KPIs in such a way that we can connect them with strengths. And then starting to build the language in the workplace. And I get super excited about this because I think it makes it really practical. The other things that are just important in continuing is having a performance management system in your organization. If you don't have a performance management system already and you're saying, oh, I want to do this, it's good for my workers, good for my bottom line, bring in someone to help develop the performance management system and couple that with coaching and see results.
The two of them kind of go hand in hand, right? Holly, I think you froze there for a second. So she's talking about using a system to back it up. So basically what you want to do in an ideal organization is look at people's performance in terms of how are they using this system and how are they scoring in the system. So it's an iterative process, right? It's not a one-time deal where you use something and then, you get everybody's strengths and then you forget about it. You get everybody's strengths and then you're scoring performance about whether people are using their strengths correctly, whether they're in the correct jobs, and whether they're doing things right. So it's really an important piece of it to make sure that you get that piece down there. So really valuable insight. Holly had some technical difficulties, so we're going to cut the segment short, but we'll be back again with Holly. So I want to encourage you to pat yourself on the back for doing the hard work. Go check out Holly's work, Holly McIlwain, double I's in there, the I-L, McIlwain. You can go check out her work on LinkedIn, connect with her. She can come in and help your organization potentially implement this and do great things. And I want to remind you, check out personalityassessmentsdoneright.com. Check out what we're doing. Click through the link, see some past videos, see some upcoming guests, and let us know what your questions are. We definitely want your comments on the YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe, become part of our tribe as we're going to develop this, and we're going to keep getting more and more detailed information about particular personality assessments and what they can do. All right, folks, it's the Our Shawn signing off. Thanking Holly for her great work to help us, and looking forward to seeing you all soon for another edition of Personality Assessments Done Right. Subscribe. Jump over to Personality Assessments Done Right, watch some other episodes, but make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and get on our email list as well. Talk to you all soon.